From players stabbing each other in the back, to TV viewers acting like undercover rule enforcers, these are the 10 moments golf rules led to absolute chaos on the course. And first we start with number 10. We're at the 2023 Hero World Challenge, and Collin Morikawa found himself at the center of a rules controversy that ended up costing him a shot at the title. It's the third round, and the PGA Tour suddenly drops the bomb. Morikawa's getting hit with a two-stroke penalty. Why? Because he and his caddy, totally unaware, made a simple mistake on the fourth hole. So, what happened? Turns out Morikawa's caddy JJ had been using a device on the practice green to measure the slope. Perfectly legal, right? But here's the twist. He wrote those measurements into Morikawa's yardage book to use on the actual course. That's a big no. Using the device on the practice green was fine, but writing those numbers down and referencing them mid-game, that crossed the line. However, this wasn't even the worst part. You're probably wondering, how did the officials even find out? Well, it wasn't because they caught him in the act. Nope, it was all thanks to Morikawa's playing partner from the previous day, Matt Fitzpatrick, who just happened to casually mention it to the rules officials. And just like that, the whole thing blew up. By Saturday, they officially called him out on the violation. PGA official Stephen Cox later explained that the rule, Model Local Rule G11, was designed to keep green reading as a traditional skill, avoiding technological shortcuts. The result? Morikawa went from 10 under to 8 under, pushing him out of contention. Ouch. Imagine losing your shot at the title because of a friendly heads-up from a fellow player. That's one bitter pill to swallow. Next up, number 9. And we're diving into a moment from the 2023 Masters that had everyone talking. Brooks Koepka's caddy, Ricky Elliott, was caught on camera in what looked like a sneaky move, sharing club info with Gary Woodland's caddy. Here's the setup. Brooks nails his shot on the par 5 15th with a 5-iron, and right afterward, cameras spot Elliott mouthing the word 5, as if he's passing on the club choice. Now, under Rule 10.2a, sharing advice like that is a big deal, with a possible two-stroke penalty hanging over it. But here's where it gets interesting. Augusta National decided not to hand out any penalties, ruling that no advice had actually been given. Of course, this didn't stop the chatter. The video clearly showed Elliott mouthing 5 and Brooks flashing 5 fingers. Still, Brooks later explained that Woodland and his caddy had no clue what club he'd used. Apparently, Woodland even asked Brooks about it while they walked the fairway, reinforcing their story. Coming in at number 8, and we've got Hall of Famer Juli Inkster at the 2010 Safeway Classic. Now, she was having a great run, shooting a strong 67, sitting pretty at 8 under. She was only 3 strokes behind leader Ai Miyazato, and everything seemed on track for a competitive finish. But then, all hell breaks loose. Here's what happened. Inkster had a long, frustrating 30-minute wait at the 10th hole. So, to stay loose, she slipped a weighted donut onto her 9-iron. Just a simple move to keep her muscles warm. No harm done, right? Well, not quite. A viewer watching the broadcast noticed the device and notified tournament officials, who then alerted the LPGA staff on site. By the time Inkster hit the 17th, the officials had reviewed the footage and confirmed that she'd broken a rule, even if it was unintentional. Right after she finished her final hole, they dropped the hammer. Disqualified. Inkster, clearly disappointed, gave a quick comment that the donut weight hadn't affected her game, and then made her exit. Well, I bet she'll think twice before grabbing a donut again. Here's number 7, which brings us to the 2012 Abu Dhabi Championship. Tiger Woods found himself in a tricky situation with the rule book. He had finished tied for 3rd here the previous year, so hopes were high, but this time, a frustrating twist was waiting for him. While playing the 5th hole, Tiger thought his ball was embedded in the ground under some vegetation. To be sure, he asked his playing partner, Martin Kaymer, if it looked embedded, and Kaymer gave him the thumbs up. Thinking he was good to go, Woods took relief and played on. But after the round, officials reviewed it and ruled his ball had actually been embedded in sand, not a closely mown area. According to Rule 25.2, you only get relief for embedded balls in tightly mowed areas, like fairways or greens, not sand. So, Woods should have played it as it was, or taken a penalty for an unplayable lie. The result? A 2-stroke penalty that caused him to miss the cut by just 1 shot, sparking a lot of debate. Fans and players alike found the rule confusing, especially since both Woods and Kaymer thought it was fair for him to take a drop. Even other players weighed in, admitting they might have done the same thing in Tiger's shoes. Moral of the story? Always double-check with a rules official. Now we're at number 6, and this is probably one of the biggest stroke penalties handed out in golf. This is the 2023 Dana Open, and Lydia Ko is going to face a moment that left her and her fans absolutely stunned. It all began when Ko misinterpreted a rule about lifting and cleaning her ball. Normally, lifting the ball isn't allowed unless there's a local rule permitting it due to conditions like wet weather. That rule had been allowed on specific holes during the third round and again on Sunday, but only for holes 1 and 10. Ko mistakenly thought the rule extended to other holes and lifted her ball on holes 3, 7, 9, and 11th. The result? A brutal 7-stroke penalty that took a solid round and turned it into a nightmare. Her pars on holes 3, 7, and 9 got flipped to double bogeys, adding 6 strokes. Then, on hole 11, she realized her mistake, called over a rules official, and put her ball back in place. For that, she took an extra 1-stroke penalty, bringing her total damage to a jaw-dropping 7 strokes. Ko was understandably frustrated. She even took to Instagram later, admitting her mistake and joking that maybe she should read the rule memo a bit more closely next time. So we're halfway through the list at number 5, and here we are at the 2023 US Open. Enter Rory McIlroy, who found himself in the middle of a rules mishap that stirred up questions about the role of officials in ensuring fair play. But what happened? Well, during the final round on the 14th hole, his approach shot landed in the rough above a bunker, embedding in the thick grass. Believing he was entitled to free relief for an embedded ball, McIlroy consulted a rules official. The official permitted a drop, but then, later reviewed by the USGA, they revealed that the nearest point of relief was misidentified. It should have been directly behind the ball. While this error didn't directly impact the final outcome, it was a reminder of how even small procedural missteps can add unnecessary stress to an already tense competition. McIlroy was on fire, leading by 2 shots in the final round after a hot streak of birdies. But things started slipping in the last few holes where he missed crucial putts on the 16th and 18th, eventually finishing second. His missed putts, especially from close range, left fans and analysts reeling. Commentators like Nick Faldo speculated that these final strokes would haunt McIlroy, given the high stakes and his close pursuit of a 5th major since his last win in 2014. Up next in line, number 4. Tiger Woods is facing a frustrating moment that only golf's strict rulebook could create. It's the 2013 BMW Championship, 2nd round, and Woods is off to a solid start, until a single stick causes a whole lot of trouble. Here's what went down. On the first hole, Tiger's approach shot lands in the rough behind the green. He starts clearing away some loose sticks around his ball, and as he moves one small branch, the ball shifts ever so slightly. Woods figures it just oscillated, barely moved at all, so he plays on. But later, video footage gets reviewed, and officials decide that the ball actually moved, not just oscillated. The penalty? 2 strokes. One for making the ball move, and another for not putting it back in place. And just like that, what was originally a double bogey 6 turns into a crushing quadruple bogey 8, pushing his round score from a solid 70 to a 72. Woods wasn't too happy, to say the least. He argued that the ball had only rocked in place. But no luck. The ruling stood, and with it, a reminder that even the slightest movement can spell disaster in the world of golf. Dropping into the top 3, and we've got Patrick Reed in the spotlight once again. But hey, according to Rule 15.1, if you're still watching at this point, you have to subscribe to our channel. No exceptions. So back to Reed, because he's stirring up a storm of controversy at the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open. Here's the situation. It's the par 4 10th hole, and Reed's approach shot lands deep in the thick rough. He claims the ball is embedded and picks it up for a free drop under Rule 16.3, which allows relief for embedded balls in the general area. Simple enough, right? Well, not exactly. What really got people talking wasn't the relief itself, but how Reed handled it. Without waiting for an official, he picked up the ball before anyone could inspect it. A rare move in a game where rules are often self-enforced. Adding to the drama, a volunteer had mentioned that the ball hadn't bounced, so Reed went ahead. But here's the twist. Video footage later showed the ball actually had bounced, making it pretty unlikely that it would have embedded. And that raised the big question. Should Reed have waited for an official before lifting his ball? In a sport where honesty is everything, Reed's quick decision threw him into a gray area that a lot of fans and players found suspicious. Now, technically, Reed didn't break any rules. But the debate lies in whether his call was totally fair. He ended up finishing the hole with a par, but by then, his actions had already fueled another round of controversy around his reputation. Down to the final two, and this one will be talked about for decades. It was the 2012 Masters, and Tiger Woods was caught in a rules drama that had the golf world buzzing. So, what happened? It's the par 5 15th hole, and Tiger's approach shot looks perfect. But then, bam! It hits the flagstick and bounces straight into the water. Already frustrated, Woods decides to replay the shot. He takes a drop near his original spot, thinking he's safe, but unknowingly drops the ball about 2 yards further back. And that's where the real trouble starts. See, according to Rule 26.1, when replaying from a water hazard, the drop has to be as nearly as possible to the original spot. No wiggle room. But the twist, a TV viewer watching from home noticed the drop and called tournament officials. The Masters Committee initially reviewed the footage and gave Woods the all-clear. But then Tiger, in his post-round interview, casually mentions that he dropped it a bit further back on purpose, triggering another review. The final verdict? A 2-stroke penalty that turned his bogey into a triple bogey. Normally, signing an incorrect scorecard would mean disqualification, but a recent rule change let the committee add the penalty strokes instead. Tiger took it in stride, but the whole incident sparked a huge debate about fairness, especially with a TV viewer playing referee. Safe to say, that viewer probably wasn't in Tiger's fan club. Now here it is, the #1 spot on the list, and this one got to be the most heartbreaking moment in golf history. Again, we're at the Masters, and this time, it's Argentine golfer Roberto De Vicenzo taking center stage in a story that still stings to this day. So, here's the situation. De Vicenzo had just finished an incredible round of 65, putting himself in perfect position for a playoff. But his playing partner, Tommy Aaron, mistakenly marked him down for a par 4 on the 17th hole, instead of the birdie 3 that De Vicenzo had actually made. Unaware of the error, De Vicenzo signed his scorecard, thereby making the incorrect score official. Now in golf, the rule is clear. Players are fully responsible for their own scorecards. And once you sign it, that's it. So, signing for a higher score means that score stands. As a result, De Vicenzo's official score was recorded as 66 instead of 65, leaving him just one painful stroke behind Bob Golby, who was declared the winner. This incident cost De Vicenzo a spot in a playoff for the championship. When he realized the mistake, his reaction was both humble and unforgettable. He simply said, "What a stupid I am." It wasn't just a missed chance at glory, it was a brutal reminder of golf's unbreakable rules. And with a green jacket on the line, you don't want to break those golf rules. Since you've made it this far, you have to check out this next video right in the middle of the screen. Enjoy!